Okay, today we are playing a game on Hollywood. We are in the Silver SR range, and we will be playing Reinhardt the entire way through. And because we are in the Silver SR, I don't particularly care what our team comp is, because when you get below gold, people don't really know how to pilot their heroes yet, so team comps don't operate as they should. So it doesn't really matter beyond, do we have a tank? Do we have a healer? And we do, so that's all that really matters, team composition-wise. So we're just gonna start the game. So we're attacking Hollywood first. Always a fun game. Will we come around the corner and will we find fucking Bastion and Torbjorn just sat on the elevator at the back going up and down? And we have yet to actually find out because we haven't gotten that far in. So we're not really doing much of anything. Well, this is something scary to come around the corner and see. We've come around and we found an Orisa and a Hanzo. So they're gonna break our barrier pretty quickly. And we're just kind of like standing out here in front of it, not really doing anything. So we've got to figure out how we're gonna get the team in there quickly because our barrier has a finite amount of health. So the thing is with Hollywood is there's only realistically one way through. Well, there's two ways to go, but there's only one way through, right? Because, like, going through this door, that's a death trap. Don't go through that door. So we've got to either go this way, or we've got to go that way. But we got to do it quick. Orisa's sitting right here. So if we just collapse on Orisa really quickly as we go through the door, we can probably kill her before she gets to safety, but before we can do that, we need our barrier to actually be at a decent amount of health. Right now, it's half dead. So there's no way we march our way through right now without it just breaking part way up. And we don't want to ever let our shield break as Reinhardt. So we've got to let it recover. We've basically got to come stand over here. And, like, hopefully your team come and stand out of the way as well. Because right now, we need to actually get our barrier healthy enough. We're going to wait for it to get... We want to wait for it to basically get to full health. And then the plan is basically just either push this way real fast or push this way real fast, because they're going to shred our barrier real quickly. But instead, we just kind of stand here and let it break. We don't want to ever let it break. We've also just learned there's a Symmetra, so now going through that doorway on the right is even scarier. We found out their other tank is Winston. We could have tried to pin him right here, because we could just, like, go between these two cars and start charging, because he's probably going to start backing up, because he shouldn't have really jumped like that to begin with, but, you know, people will do weird things. So we've put our shield up again, and it's not really doing anything. Right now, we've got to wait for our team to actually regroup again, because we saw somebody die behind us. Mercy did res Moira, but we're missing Farah right now, so it's still going to be hard to push him. And excuse me, Jesus. Don't do this. Shield is, like, basically broken to begin with. We're putting it up when it's, like, less than 400 health, so it just gets immediately broken. And, yeah, it didn't cost us our life or anything to let it break, but now we've got to start from 0 again. So we're just spending a lot of time, like, waiting for... And now we've put it up again. Now we just have to wait even longer for it to recharge. We should have just come over here to let it recharge and just, like, wait, basically. Very common Reinhardt issue. People want it, like, we keep interrupting the recharge because we've just done it again. The barrier's useless right now. It's worthless at this low health. We're doing it again. You've got to be patient. You've got to be patient when you're playing Reinhardt. You can't push in with an almost broken barrier, because they'll just break the barrier and then probably kill you and your team as well. You've got to wait for the barriers to actually recover, because the barrier's doing nothing. This barrier could have recharged to full health like 4 times over by now, but we just keep interrupting the recharge for no reason. We're not blocking anything right now. We're just holding it up for the sake of holding it up because we're playing Reinhardt, and it's just getting broken over and over and over and over again. So now 2 people on their team have just died. We've just seen that over there. Again, the shield could be like full health right now, but we keep doing this, and now we've interrupted it at half health again. Here's the thing, right? When you're playing Reinhardt, right? Whatever map you're playing on, right? When you're this is in reference to attacking specifically. Whatever map you're on, you got to figure out which way you're gonna go to get to the objective. There's only usually 1 or 2 ways. There are not many maps that have a great variety of options to attack with, right? So you gotta figure out how you're gonna get to the objective. And usually there's one way that's just flatly better than the other ones. Like, Hollywood going this way and then coming up that way is almost always better. But if, like, there's an Orisa just sat right here, that's further up than Orisa should actually be, especially with a team comp like Winston and Symmetra. They can't do much to get her out of a jam, right? So we can just, like, come around the corner and crush in on her really quickly. We could try and go through here as well, but that door's scary, especially if they have a Symmetra, right? So usually there's one way that's just flatly better, but if somebody's doing something dumb like this, feel free to make adjustments to it. But you've got to figure out how you're going to get there. And then, you know, look at what their team is and what they're doing and see if that augments your plan in any way, because usually you'll come out of the gate like, oh, I'm going to try and go this way, and if something extraneous happens, we'll go the other way, right? Like, typical Temple of Anubis strategy is, I'm going to go left, but if I look in that doorway and see, like, a Junkrat and a Symmetra, maybe I'll go right instead, you know? But you gotta figure out which way you're gonna go. And then, you're probably gonna waste some of your barrier getting up to the choke point, right? To even see what's going on out there. So then, that gives you enough time to look at their team and what they're doing, and then, when you're at the choke point, that's when you make the decision. Which way are we gonna go? And then you just wait for your barrier to recover to full health. You can do this as the attacking team, because the attacking team is the team that has the initiative, right? So you can take however long it needs to get the attack ready. So you just sit, and you wait for your shield to be basically full health, and then you push in, and you push in decisively, right? Because what we've all seen Hanamura, where this Reinhardt just dances around in front of the gate forever, never actually trying to push in. You do have to push in. So you get up to the objective, you get up to the choke point, you decide which way you're going to go to the choke to get to the objective through the choke point, wait for your shield to be full health, or really close to. You're the attacker, you have the initiative, you can wait as long as you need to. And then go. With fucking vigor. Just go forward, right? Because I look at this and I go, Orisa's too far up. I'm going to stand here. I'm going to, like, fire strike a couple times while I'm waiting for my barrier to recharge. And then, when it's full health, we're fucking going. And I'm going to crush this Orisa against the goddamn wall. Right? We have just sat around in front of the choke point for 1 minute and 15 seconds, doing nothing, constantly interrupting our barrier. Our barrier's barely been at over half health for any length of time in this match. You gotta be patient, decide what you're gonna do, and then, when it's time, you go. Right? Reinhardt's a lot about having patience, and then recognizing when it's time to go. When it's time to just hit the button. This is not the time to hit the button. My headphones just, like, suddenly decided they didn't want to be on my head anymore. So this is not the way. We do almost pin Winston. That's great. This is a really low chance pin of actually working. We're going 1,000,000 miles, for one thing. We want our pins to be as short as possible. And, like, we have to hope he comes into it, basically, you know? Because he's going backwards, and then we're like, he's going to go forward. He shouldn't go forward in that position, really, especially since they're currently on the back foot, but he did, so there's that. We don't want to back ourselves into this corner right now, because this exact thing right here could happen to us. Bearing in mind that both the enemy team's DPS are dead right now. Hanzo died along with Zenyatta, and then Mercy rezzed Zenyatta. So Hanzo's still dead, Symmetra just died. Their DPS are not here anymore. Winston can hit you through the shield anyway. So all backing up into this hallway does is break line of sight to your healers and put you against the wall, right? And then Winston's like, I'm gonna come in here and just, like, beat you all the way over here. There was no need for us to go in this way. We didn't need to charge in initially either. Like, the correct play was basically just hold shield up, walk at door. But coming in this doorway was unnecessary on top of that, and could have led to us dying right there. So we have Earth Shatter built up, and the enemy team have largely recovered on the point over here. We just saw Winston's bubble break, or disappear rather. Great, that means we don't have to worry about that for the near future. If we can get, like, Hanzo and Winston in this Earth Shatter, that's good enough, because they aren't all here right now. Ideally, we get Zenyatta also, because we don't want him to use Transcendence. Mercy, so we do just leave Mercy here, right? Like, she's shooting next to us, and then we just suddenly take the barrier down and walk away. You can't just drop the barrier when somebody's standing out there like that, because she was expecting you to, like, keep blocking, and then you just suddenly took it down to walk back. If somebody's standing out there like that, you have to try and, like, usher them backwards with the shield. The shield wasn't about to break yet, it was still just under half health. We could have just tried to walk it backwards. We did not try to walk it backwards. Now half our team is dead. So now we, like, probably don't want to use Earth Shatter anymore. But we use it anyway. We kill their Mercy. Our team's not here right now. Fortunately, Junkrat kills 2 people with the tire. So, and the other healer is Moira. So we actually can kind of keep going forward. We shouldn't have Earth Shattered like that, because there was a really low percentage chance that this push worked anymore. As we can see, the push has worked. It was not likely to, though, so we should not have Earth Shattered. Just catching Mercy in that situation isn't even that good, because they've basically all recovered by that point, right? Like, a lot of people are back on the objective, so we're trying to get more than one person at that point. And we're trying to get more than one person in general anyway, but, you know, that wasn't a particularly good one. So we did just manage to kill him. Ults happened over here. Looked like Zenyatta disconnected. Great, everything worked out for the best somehow. Now we can beat Symmetra to death. She's staggered compared to her team. There's a teleporter right here. So they're all rushing out. We break the teleporter, and now... So, you know, we're really dead. Or Fire Strike it. Fire Strike it. Because, like, here's when... Bash, and then as soon as it makes contact, Fire Strike, because... There's a cooldown on you being able to swing a second time anyway. The Fire Strike only adds a very minor amount to it, but you increase your damage because you've done 100 damage. Don't do that. Earth Shatter gets really weird in this kind of area, especially close to corners. Don't do that. We've also already captured the checkpoint. Killing these people right now doesn't do anything. We can just save that for when we're pushing in and then try to wipe them and push forwards. Like, when you're just, like, bash, as soon as it makes contact, Fire Strike, and it adds, like, 0.2 seconds to you being able to swing again, but you've done 100 damage in the cooldown period. So you've increased your DPS by Fire Striking, like, right after your hit makes contact. And that helps you, like, kill people faster, and it would help break the teleporter a little faster. Do be careful when you Fire Strike, like, right next to people, though, because if you suddenly need to put your shield up when you're Fire Striking, you'll be really upset if you can't. Fire Strike's animation doesn't seem that long until you suddenly need to put your shield up once you started using Fire Strike. So, this is where it's difficult to really take your shield down and let it recover. In general, as soon as you get bubbled, just take your shield down and walk forward. Try to let the Zarya get charge off of you and, like, save a bit of energy on your shield. But when you're pushing forward like this is when it's hard to recover charge, particularly on Hollywood, because its payload isn't very good for cover. It's a very low payload. Whereas if you're like Rialto, right, it's a fucking massive payload. It's like it's literally a giant crate moving down the street, so a lot easier to get covered behind. So we pin Winston right here, and we save the Moira's life. Half our team are dead right now. We can't fight. This girl's over here still trying to fight. We shouldn't really be coming over here right now while half our team is dead, but we're coming over here anyway. They'll be back soon enough. Their team isn't super scary, but, like, we should just be waiting for our team to regroup so that we can actually push forward with a complete unit. Instead, you know, 2 people have died behind us anyway. You know, this is the tragedy of low SR. Your shield's worthless right now. Don't bother putting it back up. You've got to wait for it to actually recharge a little bit more than this. It's recharging right now, so it's not going to take much for it to get up to a reasonable amount of health. Putting it back up at like 700 health is basically worthless. Bearing in mind, we still don't want to ever let our shield break, right? So if you put it up at like 700 health, that really means it only has like 500 health, because we don't want to let our shield break, so you're going to take it down at low health so that it doesn't break. So if it's got like 700 health. It's only really got 500 health because we don't want to let it break. So it's not really, it's just not worth it. This is not a play that's likely to work, but we've just pinned Zenyatta. He's upset. Now we're going to do this behind them, kill Moira, because, you know, she's easier for her to get away than Mercy to get away. And we beat the Mercy to death. They now have triple healer, but, or triple support rather, but same thing. Two of them are main healers. Usually one of them would be Bridget, and then the other would be Zenyatta, and then you would have a main healer in there, usually Mercy. But, you know, they've elected to have a worse team composition, which is their own business, you know, don't let me try to tell you what to do. There's, like, no chance that pin ever connected. Winston was never going to stay over there during that, so that pin was, like, never going to make contact. They shouldn't be doing this. Again, we're charging from 1 billion miles away. Moira's got fucking Coalescence going right now. It's never gonna make contact unless Moira's just, like, not looking at her fucking monitor right now. We have Fire Strike. Throw it through the people. Even, like, they probably die. Like, they can't be particularly healthy in there. Just throw the Fire Strike through. Instead, we don't do that. We wait to charge, and it doesn't make contact with anybody. We could have Fire Striked through there, and that would have probably finished those people off. As we can see, though, they're all dead now anyway. Hooray. No need to put your shield up right here, because Winston can't be blocked by your shield. Just keep hitting him. There's nothing to block. I mean, Moira, like, who cares, right? Moira's right click doesn't do any damage. Just keep on these boys. There's no need to be so pensive about it. We can just keep going. And again, it's like, hit, Fire Strike through them right there, and just do an extra 100 damage to Winston right there. Like, if you hit and then immediately Fire Strike, you just suddenly do 175 damage to somebody really quickly, and that Winston's almost dead. Just, like, get used to, like, as soon as it makes contact, Fire Strike through them, and just, bam, 175 damage really quickly. That's enough to almost kill any 200 health hero. So, if your team are around you, which hopefully they are, you're playing Reinhardt, you'll get a kill on the person. So, Hanzo's electing to waste his ultimate right now, which is very convenient. We're glad he did that. Now, Dragon's passed. Let's come back out again. Remember to check both ways before crossing the street. You never know when 2 dragons are just going to come down, or 2 wolves, for that matter. So we've almost got Earth Shatter built up again. We haven't been, like, super efficient with our Fire Strike. We could have had it coming up here rather than getting it as we were up here, which, you know, can matter. So, they have Orisa. She can block Earth Shatter, so we want to keep in mind when she moved her shield, right? So she put it there, she just moved it right there. The shield has a really long cooldown. She just moved it there, that means she can't move it again for like 10 seconds? How long's the cooldown on Orisa's shield? Hold on, I gotta look this one up real quick. Orisa stats. How long is the cooldown on Orisa's barrier? It is 10 seconds. Hooray! He's great. He knew. It's 10 seconds. So that if when we see her move it, that means she can't move it again for another 10 seconds. Winston also just put his bubble down. So that means he isn't going to be able to do that either. So now that makes it way easier to Earth Shatter these people. Because bearing in mind, those shields are too far away from the payload. They have to come up to touch the payload if they're actually going to contest it. So as soon as they come up, we can just Earth Shatter them. Because they can't move their barriers. Orisa did just move her barrier, but it's, like, way far back. We could have Earth-Shattered a little bit sooner in here. We could have Earth-Shattered, because Orisa's also almost certainly used Fortify by now. I didn't see it, but I'm certain she did. We could Earth-Shatter right now, catch Orisa, catch Moira, kill both of them. Maybe catch somebody else as well. Just Orisa and a Moira is probably enough in that situation, because that's their main tank and their main healer. So we could have Earth-Shattered both of them, and that would have probably been good enough in this position, because we've already got, like, a massive lead on them. We decided to Earth-Shatter, we only caught Moira with it, because we waited longer to do it. Whereas we could have caught Orisa with it, and Orisa, I believe, is the one that did, like, a lot of the damage to us, so if we caught her as well... Granted, she might have had Fortify, but I'm pretty sure she used it as she was coming out of spawn. Because she was getting hit when she came out of spawn. So we're back now. We didn't Fire Strike coming up here. Fire Strike. We gotta be building up this ult. Earth Shatter builds up really quickly, and that's what Fire Strike is for. Throw it out there. Get doing damage. If you don't have your ult char, if you don't have Earth Shatter ready, you want to be firing out that Fire Strike as often as possible to build it up. So this charge was from 1 billion miles away. Orisa didn't react in time and use Fortify, so we pinned her regardless. We saw she did have it, because she used it afterwards, but again, we charged from 1 billion miles away. We don't want to do that. So we basically have to back up or die. We don't want to back up, but we have to. And now we charge back up again after our shield broke. By that point, there's not much more you can really do. We had to give up some ground or we were just going to get killed over there and then just, like, come back again. Now we should change to somebody faster. Yeah, we're really close to having Earth Shatter, but the way the fight's going over there, we're unlikely to get back as Reinhardt. We should just change to, like, Tracer or something to see if we can get over there in time, because we weren't likely to make it there as Reinhardt. So that's looking good already. I'm liking that team composition. I feel like that's got some legs to stand on, certainly. Torbjorn can build us 4 extra legs, right? Does his turret stand on 4 legs? I don't even know. I think it might actually be a tripod. We don't have Torbjorn anymore. Good job, team. Good job, good job. So, now we have to defend. Standing this far up is really scary. Well, okay, it's not really scary, but we don't want to do it because this is what dictates a lot of where Reinhardt stands, right? We want to be standing in a location where the enemy team have to move into our line of fire to actually hit us or our shield, right? When we're standing this far up, they can hit our shield from where our team can't hit them, because they can stand around this corner and shoot the edge of our shield. Or just sit, like, really far back, like, over there and shoot at it. People don't usually do that, but this is what dictates a lot of where we're meant to stand as Reinhardt. We want to stand somewhere where they have to come into line of sight to actually shoot at the barrier, which is not here. They can shoot this from outside of line of sight. Or they can stand in here as well and, like, fire down. And, you know, they can shoot at the barrier. If we're this far up, they can break our barrier without exposing themselves to our team. Which is why we sit back, like, closer to the point where we sort of stand, like, blocking, like, standing this orientation, facing this way, but, like, further back, like, pretty close to the objective. And the reason for that is they have to come through the gate to actually shoot at our barrier. So they have to expose themselves to us to actually break our barrier, whereas standing this far up, they can break our barrier. It's the same reason we don't stand under the bridge on Eichenwald, right? Because if you stand under the bridge, yeah, you neatly encapsulate the whole bridge, but they can stand around the corner downhill and break your barrier without exposing themselves to your team, which is not what we want. We want them to have to come into line of sight if they want to shoot at us. So that's why we don't stand up there. It's also just easier to die over there, because if you're, like, here, you have to come all this way to get back to safety, right? Whereas if you're, like, right here, you're in safety already. So that's why we usually stand, like, this-ish. Well, more kind of like that. It's because they have to actually start coming through the gate to shoot at you. There's, like, a very narrow window they can shoot at the barrier through without exposing themselves, but, like, they have to come into the gateway to actually start shooting at you. So that's what dictates a lot of where we stand as Reinhardt, and, like, Orisa as well. Partly it's easier to die up here, but also partly because they can't shoot it without being in line of sight. You know, if we're standing like here, they can't really see it through the gate. They can try to come through this doorway as well, but that's still just hard to do because they have to come through the narrow little fuckhole to try and get to us. So our barrier's really low right now. We should take it down because they're starting to push in. So we're not going to get a chance to let our barrier recharge after this point. We should just be, like, letting it recharge right now so that it's as healthy as possible when they come in. Can't do anything about this, really. I don't even really recommend trying to fire strike the Pharah because you're so unlikely to hit her that it's still just usually better to let it to fire strike the enemy team and get some ult charge off of it. Just pin this guy. Like, there's nowhere for him to go. He's fitting in such a narrow little location. He dies regardless, so we didn't need to pin him. But if somebody goes in that doorway and you've got any kind of leeway with the enemy team at all, just charge him and kill him. Someone like Reinhardt can get out of a lot of situations, especially if your team doesn't actually, like, do enough damage to him, which, I mean, sounds stupid. Obviously, if they don't do enough damage to him, they're not going to kill him, but you get the idea. It's Roadhog. It's not unimaginable he gets away out of that situation, especially in Silver. So Junkrat just died. Very productive. Thank you, Junkrat. I believe we have a teleporter set up. We better have a fucking teleporter set up to the fucking a minute and a half into the round after, like, Symmetra got most of those kills. A lot of our team just died. Why has this happened? Where is Zenyatta? How did this happen? Where is their Zenyatta? Is he behind us? Their Zenyatta was fucking behind us, wasn't he? There's no way he got that kill from the gate. I couldn't see him either, so he's a fucking master ninja. Zenyatta had to be behind us. We could have got both with that Earth Shatter, but we used it a little bit too late. You can't hesitate with Earth Shatter. If you see an opportunity to use it, you just gotta use it. Earth Shatter is one of those ultimates where it has, like, a really strong impact, but a very narrow window of, like, being effective. So you've gotta, as soon as you recognize an opportunity to use Earth Shatter, just slap that key immediately. Don't hesitate. We could have caught both with that Earth Shatter, but we hesitated a little bit too long and only got one of them. It's one of those, this is a part of Reinhardt, is noticing the opportunity and then just going. You gotta be ready to go from 0 to 100 at a moment's notice. Because usually when everybody lines up, when you see the whole team just, like, converge on top of each other and you see that moment to Earth Shatter, you do only have, like, a second opportunity to actually get that, or suddenly all 5 people is going to become 2 people, which is a lot worse. Still enough in a lot of situations, but fucking why even risk it, right? Why not just do it? Take the barrier down. Dip your toe into that dragon, come back out again so that Zarya can get some charge off of that barrier. Because we want to help get Zarya as high charge as possible. When you're playing the other tank, when Zarya's around, if she bubbles you, you are trying to take damage. You want to help Zarya build up charge so that she can be the best hero in the game. So as soon as she bubbles you, try and take damage. That's true if you're anybody, really. If Zarya bubbles you, try and take some damage. If you're a squishy target, obviously you've got to be careful when you do that. But in general, if you got bubbled by Zarya, try and take some damage. It just makes it easier for Zarya. And anything making it easier for Zarya makes it easier for everybody at the end of the day. So our whole team just kind of died, and we just watched Farah drop down and fucking get murdered right there. So great. So even though a lot of people are dead right now, I'm not gonna stop right here because we got Earth Shatter. I just saw Hanzo. I see Mercy right there. Mercy's gonna run around the corner. As soon as I see Hanzo start charging that up, I'm like, fuck it. I'm full health. I can take this. I can take some damage from the dragon. I'm gonna push up here and just Earth Shatter them. Because this fight could go either way. If we kill both of them, we probably kill enough of their momentum to let the rest of our team regroup. We still get Hanzo and Winston, which is, like, good enough. We do take a little bit too long to line this up, and we end up getting pushed out of the way by Roadhog. If we just did it right now, just, like, go, then we would have probably still been able, well, we definitely would have done, because we would have, like, slid along the wall, if nothing else, and pinned Winston. Again, you can't hesitate when you're playing Reinhardt. You gotta be ready to just go. Heartbreaking situation. We want to go over there. We're too low to go over there, so we just basically have to hold our shield up. We did start walking forward and almost die, but we didn't actually die. That's all that actually matters. And we died. We still won. Hooray! Even though it didn't look like we were going to. Like, did you think we were going to hold on to that checkpoint right there? Because, oh, it looked bad a few times, didn't it? So we got the play of the game. Which one? Where would we have gotten this? Oh, of course. Yes. Zenyatta's upset about that one. I didn't notice this at the time. Efficiency. Hit her first. then Fire Strike. In fact, here's what we should do, right? I didn't even think about this at the time. Looking at it again now, I see it. We hit both of them. Here's what we do, right? Hit her, rotate like so while you're doing it, and then, as soon as it makes contact, Fire Strike, you'll hit her and Mercy with it, and she'll die, because Earth Shatter does 25 damage. Hit, Fire Strike, that's the other 175 damage. She's dead. Mercy's already most of the way dead. We've only got to get over there and actually hit her. Didn't even notice this at the time, but now that I'm looking at it here, we could have been way more efficient with that Earth Shatter right there. Clearly didn't matter in that situation. Can easily matter at the same time though, because that's also part of saving Fire Strike after you have their Shatter built up, is you want to be able to Fire Strike through the whole team. But swing first, right? Because again, we're trying to be as efficient as possible. We do a lot of damage, so we're trying to maximize it, right? Swing, makes contact, Fire Strike immediately afterwards. Adds a little bit of delay to the second swing, but you've done more damage overall in the same period of time, so... like so. Fire striking like that, you just miss out on another left click, basically. So, efficiency. And then try and rotate around. Get both of them at the same time. So, even though we won, and it wasn't that close, there was still actually a lot to talk about. That's what happens when it's a video about Reinhardt, who I have played more than any man should ever have to play. So thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them, or just shitpost with us, and hope you found the video helpful.